Hello learners, welcome to Top Notch Online TV. It's me again, Teacher Emmy Njabani, a teacher of English, a writer, and as well as an examiner. In our previous session, learners, we looked at introduction and plot analysis of the short story God Sees the Truth but Waits. Now, this is a continuation episode where we're looking at the issues or the themes that are brought out in that story, as well as a sample essay question from our favorite revision book, Top Notch English Guru. So we start by looking at the sample, a few themes that are brought out in that book. So the first one we have is the theme of faith and religion. The theme of faith and religion. So Ivan loses everything after his arrest and imprisonment. He loses everything except his trust in God. He's defeated, he's detached from material things, and he becomes more spiritual. So when he realizes that no one believes him, even his own wife, when he realizes that he has no proof to actually clear his name or to bring the truth out and clear his name and his reputation, he only turns to God. He knows that it's only God who knows the truth, and it's only God who is going to clear him from these wrong accusations. So he turns his he changes and he becomes a religious person who strongly believes in God. After his wife questions him about his innocence, he clearly tells her that he is disappointed that she also does not believe in his innocence and only trusts in God for his mercy and for the truth to come out. Later on, we are told that he saved some money from the work that they do in prison, and he bought himself a book, and that book is about the lives of the saints. So in this book, he kept on reading it every time. He was a good person, and even the governor and the officers actually respected him, even earned himself a nickname by the name Saint, because he was known to be a religious person, someone who is trustworthy and someone who can be relied on. Later on, when Maka arrives in prison, and Ivan realizes that indeed it was him who had killed the merchant 26 years ago, Ivan does not go actually talking about it to the authorities, and he is filled with vengeance. He feels that he needs to avenge how this man made him lose 26 years of his life, lose his money, and lose his family as well. He says that he feels that he needs to avenge, even if he loses in his life trying to do so. But instead of taking revenge, what does Ivan do? He plays the entire night. He cannot sleep because of the bitterness. But to try and calm himself down, to try and do the right thing, he prays the entire night. Every night, even though he does not find peace in it. So he believes in God to give him peace and to give him calmness, and in God to serve justice and not take justice into his own hands. He also, after finding Makan digging the tunnel, his escape route out of prison, and Makar asks him if he is going to tell on him. Ivan says that he will do as God wills him. If God wills him to tell, then he's going to tell. If God tells him not to tell, then he's not going to tell. And later on, we see as the governor and the officers investigated the case about a prisoner was digging an escape route or a tunnel out of prison, Ivan knew the truth because he had actually seen Makar do it. And this was his best time to take revenge. The revenge that he was longing for. The revenge that his heart was crying for. It was the best time to do so. But it does not go against God's will. Since he had told Makar that he'll do what God wills him to do, he answers the governor and tells him that it is not God's will that I should tell. So you can see clearly that Makal is a religious person who is strong in faith and believes in serving God and following God's will. The second theme is the theme of injustice, which can also be referred to as wrongful conviction. So Ivan is wrongfully convicted. He did not kill the merchant that is accused of murdering, but yet he spends 26 years in jail. He loses everything that he owned. He also suffers psychologically, he suffers physically, but he has no proof that he is innocent. And even when he and his wife tried to petition to the Caesars so that his case can be heard again or to appeal, is actually denied appeal or is rejected. The petition is rejected. So he is actually denied justice. Ivan and his family are denied justice. The last theme is the theme of forgiveness. Theme of forgiveness. That if someone does something wrong to you, that instead of taking revenge, that it is fulfilling, it is liberating if you forgive instead of taking matters into your own hands and then ending up either hurting the other person or hurting yourself more. So Ivan forgives first his wife. He believes that his wife should be the first person to trust in him and believe that he is innocent. So when she questions his innocence, he does not, as much as it breaks his heart, he does not have a grudge against her. He forgives her and tells her that it's only God who will reveal the truth. Then Ivan also forgives Makar. So after Makar comes to prison and Ivan realizes that indeed it was him who had framed him by putting a murder weapon inside his belongings, he does not take revenge against, as much as he longed for, even when he is given up an opportunity to do so, he does not revenge against Makar. Actually, he forgives him. Even at that point when Makar goes and kneels down and asks for forgiveness from Ivan tells him it's only God who will forgive you, meaning that he himself had already forgiven Makar. Now, the part that was remaining is for God to forgive Makar. So in simple, he was telling Makar, believe in God and ask God's forgiveness, because my forgiveness is not as important as God's forgiveness. But clearly, Ivan had already forgiven Makar. Ivan also forgives the judicial system for wrongfully imprisoning him. Instead of doing enough digging and investigation to find the true murderer, they just imprison him, flog him, take him through hard labor for 26 years until finally when Makar confesses the truth. So our learners, those are the few themes that we have in this short story. God sees the truth but waits. Now this is the time that we look at a sample essay from the best revision book in our country, Top Notch Guru. So this essay is on page 328, and I'll read it slowly. Fate as a way of punishing or rewarding the victims based on their actions. Fate as a way of punishing or rewarding the victims based on their actions. Support the above claim using illustrations from Leo Tolstoy's God Sees the Truth but Waits. Just a reminder that an essay has 3 parts: an introduction, the body, and the conclusion. And also another reminder that we have a whole session here on Top Notch Online TV that looks at how a student is expected to approach an essay question from the beginning up to the end for you to score maximum marks. So go there, subscribe, search for it, and you'll be guided accordingly. Back to our essay. I'll read the introduction for you. The evil we do to others catches up with us in future, and the good we do does not go unrewarded. Again, I am not repeating the words in the question because you don't do that as a student. In life, everything we do has consequences, whether good or bad. Again, what we have here is a general introduction that introduces this essay. which is also a very good introduction. And go straight to the points. We have 4 points for the body because the body has a maximum number of 12 marks and every point scores 3 marks. So the first point, Makal kills a merchant and thinks he got away with it. So 26 years ago, Makal kills a merchant who was traveling, when Aksionov was traveling, or Ivan was traveling to Nizhny Fair, he met a merchant that he knew. And the two of them decided to meet up in the same inn for the night after they had a cup of tea together. So the following morning, the merchant is found dead. And the person he was last seen with was Ivan or Aksionov. And of course, after searching his things, the murder weapon is found amongst Ivan's properties or belongings. So there is no way, all evidence pointed towards him. So there is no way you could prove that indeed he was innocent. But wherever Makal was, he knew the truth. He knew that he was the one who killed the merchant, and he knew that he was the one who implicated Ivan by putting the murder weapon amongst his belongings. But he does not confess. After Ivan's imprisonment, Makal thinks that he has gotten away with it. But later on, now I'm reading from the book, later on, he loses everything. Okay, later on, we learn the truth when Makal confesses his crime. He was arrested for a minor crime and sentenced in the same prison Aksionov or Ivan was in. Clearly, Makal was fitted to be in prison. So, no matter as much as he tried to escape the truth catches up with him 26 years later. Later on, the truth comes out. He confesses himself, and I'm so sure that he was given a new term in jail apart from the one that he was given for the minor crime that and landed him in jail in the first place. Secondly, Makal tries to escape from prison by digging a tunnel on the wall. So Aksionov, who barely slept after seeing the person who had killed the merchant, stumbles on Makal digging a tunnel, but he does not tell on him. So Makal later confesses everything out of guilt and begs Aksionov to forgive him. Obviously, he has into years of imprisonment, fatally had a way of ensuring Makal paid for his sins. So you see, even if Aksionov and Lily suggested that he would not tell on Makal, Makal lands himself in another trouble. He tries to escape from prison. And it's from that incident, if you follow the story, that he learns about not revenging. He learns about the good character in Ivan or Aksionov. And it's from that he goes to the authorities and confesses all the crimes that he had committed in the past. Thirdly, Ivan does not report Makal to the authorities and he leaves it to God. So this is something, you see, the question is about fate as a way of punishing or rewarding. So if you do something bad, you're punished. If you do something good, you're rewarded. So we have seen 2 instances where someone does something bad and they were punished. Now we are looking at where someone is rewarded for doing something good. And this is Ivan. He does not report Makal to the authorities and he leaves it to God instead of taking revenge. So instead of taking revenge by reporting Makal to the authorities, Ivan leaves it to God. He prays the entire night for God to grant him peace. He prays for the entire night for God to give him that grace to forgive Makal for wasting his 26 years and for the psychological and the physical suffering that he had to undergo. So instead of revenging, he does the right thing. So the question is, was Aksionov rewarded? Of course he was. So it was, we see that out of guilt, Makal later confesses the truth, clearing Aksionov's name. Things took control of themselves. So he does not take revenge. He leaves it to God. And God pushes Makal to go and confess himself, clearing Aksionov's or Ivan's name. Although it was too late, at least it was a good thing or a good deed that was rewarded by the truth coming out and his reputation being cleared. The last point, Ivan's behavior in prison rewarded him with respect and love for everyone. So we are told that he would always read the book, The Lives of the Saints, and he would always sing in the prison church choir. And so he got the nickname The Saint. That is on in that story. So we are told that the prison authorities really liked Ivan, and they really respected him. So sometimes when there was an issue in prison, they would go to him for advice. They was also go to him so that they can get the clarity of how things happened, especially when they realized that there was a prisoner who was taking a tunnel or an escape route out of prison. The first person they go to, because they know the person who can never lie to them, is Ivan, because he and his behavior in prison had earned him respect and trust from the authorities. They respected him, they trusted him, and everyone, including his fellow prisoners, actually loved Ivan so much. So those are the 4 points that help us to expound our essay question today. But do not forget, our learners, that an essay must have a conclusion. Remember, we said it should have 3 parts: introduction, the body, and the conclusion. And the conclusion is 2 marks, and it should be there. So you can conclude by even giving a moral lesson like what we have here, that our actions catch up with us later in life. What you do today will catch up with you tomorrow. So be very conscious of the things that you do today, because everything you do has a consequence. If you do something good, you get rewarded. If you do something bad, you get punished. So the introduction is truly, our actions catch up with us later in life. One should aspire to do good so that good can follow them in future. That is our conclusion. And that concludes our lesson today. But do not forget to press that subscription button. Subscribe to Top Notch TV for all the education materials that you need for your high school education, as well as Top Notch Kids TV for that education content for your little one. From us in studio, so bye-bye.